Welcome back to Xavier at Sunrise. Each year, armed forces and countries from around the world commemorate Remembrance Day to mark the end of hostilities of the First and Second World Wars and to honor those men and women who have fallen or who fell during those two wars. In recognition and celebration, let's welcome Major Marlon Kennedy, Mr. Carlton Watson, and Mr. Peter Xavier Williams. I need to give you your title because you're also retired sergeant and you received the Badge of Honor for long and faithful service.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome, gentlemen, to CVM at Sunrise.
Thank you.
Now, there is this whole celebration around Remembrance Day, and I want to start with Major Kennedy. Talk to us a little bit about the celebration, the day, what will be happening, and all of that.
Well, from Jamaica's point of view, in particular the JDF, we will have our Remembrance Day parade at the Hero Circle, National Heroes Park. We will have a parade there, and we'll also have a wreath-laying ceremony. But all across the island, throughout the parishes, we will have similar ceremonies taking place at the respective cenotaphs throughout the parishes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Watson, the Royal Air Force was formed in 1918, but you served in 1944. Let's talk a little bit about your service at that time.
Well, I joined the Air Force on the 9th of September, 44.
Yes.
We did initial training in Palisades, which was then up Park Camp.
Right.
So we did, and subsequently went to England and did further basic training at a place called Filey on the northeast of England.
So what was that experience like for you back in 1944?
It was, speaking personally, I was extremely pleased at the way we were received in England, although I must say I was somewhat surprised that the British people did not know where Jamaica was.
At the time, yes.
At that time. While we knew far more of England than they did of Jamaica. In fact, they just didn't know. So wherever you went, you were being asked, where's Jamaica? What part of Africa is that?
Right.
That was a standard question.
And what was your rank at the time?
AC2. But I ended up as a corporal.
Okay. And how long did you serve?
I served from 44 to 51.
To 1951, which now takes me to 1952 with retired Sergeant Peter Xavier Williams. You go back to 1952. Talk to us about your service at the time.
Well, sir, before I begin,
right,
let me introduce the puppy by pinning it here.
All right, thank you so much.
Sir.
I appreciate it. You can just pin it right on the collar or the pocket.
Yes, sir.
All right,
thank you so much for wearing a puppy.
Yes.
Show that you care, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And before we talk about the significance of the puppy, because it dates back to 19 so long,
yes, sir.
Let's talk about your service in 1952 and what rank in which you served.
Sir, I was enlisted in the Jamaica Local Force on the 6th day of October 1952. Yes, sir.
What was that experience like for you back then?
The experience during that period, to me, was great because every material action is the result of a little thought, and I saw myself from 12 years old as a soldier. Yes, sir.
How easy was it for youngsters to be recruited at that time as compared to maybe now?
Well, the fact, sir, is that discipline was the order of the day. And if you're not a disciplined youngster, then there's no way that you could have entered into that service.
Right. Now, Major Kennedy, you're the chairman of the National Poppy Appeal Committee. Let's talk a little bit about the significance of it and why was this committee formed? Because it dates back to 1914.
Well, the Poppy Appeal Committee is really the fundraising arm for the Jamaica Legion. And the Jamaica Legion is one of the branches of the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Services League,
Right.
which our interest is really with persons who served with the Commonwealth, throughout the Commonwealth, and within the armed forces. So as the chairman of the Poppy Appeal Committee, I spearhead all our fundraising efforts. We do that through a number of ventures, mainly our band concerts, which we host island-wide.
Yes.
And also we get a monthly subvention from the government. And also we have the poppy, the things that you see throughout the island in many places.
Yes.
That we ask for the contribution and donation. Also what is required is that every single member of the JDF on a monthly basis, there's a salary deduction that goes towards the Jamaica Legion and supports the efforts of the Curfew Home at
Curfew Home. So let's talk a little bit quickly about the Curfew Home, the Jamaica Legion's Curfew Home. What's the capacity in terms of how many persons can be housed there? And how
the
many
current capacity is
Yes.
32,
Yes.
and we have 20 persons there right now. But outside of the persons that we have at Curfew Home, we also cater to about 98 ex-service persons that are living outside of the home.
Right.
Because you do have persons who may be of need but choose not to stay at the home.
Right.
So we do have that, and we have officers who visit these persons on a monthly basis as well, and they also receive a stipend
Right.
from our efforts.
I was about to ask the question, how do you keep in touch with all the over 90 individuals?
We have officers throughout the island that are so tasked to do that sort of thing.
Right. And Mr. Watson, you had the opportunity to visit the Curfew's home. What was that experience like for you interacting with all the others who served Jamaica?
Well, I was very delighted to see that the people, the Jamaican people, were seen to these ex-servicemen.
Right. And so I earlier in our conversation, I made reference to a serviceman a Jamaican who served in World War II back in the UK. He died at the age of 100 on the 25th of September this year. Now, how important is it? Because he didn't have the family support in the UK. And so how important is it to now provide that kind of environment where we can support those ex-servicemen and women?
It's very important.
Yes.
Because you know, the fact that someone would have given up their life, their time, their energy to defend their nation, their country, the region, it is very important to us. So when we identify persons who, you know, that family structure may not be there to support them, we have our systems where we put things in place to support these persons as best as possible, and also to assist them through their hard times. So it is very important for an institution like the Jamaica Legion and our fundraising efforts to carry through with these ventures.
Right. So the Remembrance Day marks the end of World War II. World War I, on the 11th hour, 11th day, 11th month. And so in Jamaica, it is celebrated closely to the 11th of November. So can you just take us through what will unfold at National Heroes Park on the 10th of November?
Well, what happens is that we have a parade. We will have, as the backdrop to that parade, the 1st Battalion Jamaica Regiment.
Yes.
They'll have a full guard, which is just about 100 persons on parade. They form the backdrop for that. There is a wreath-laying ceremony where we have ex-service persons and other dignitaries that lay the wreath in honor of the persons who would have served and committed their life throughout the 2 world wars.
Yes.
And that ceremony takes place at the 11th hour. Then there is significance of that is with what we have a gun salute. So you will hear the explosions throughout that at the 11th hour, and then there's that minute silence at that 11th hour as well.
Yes. What is the general support that you get for recognizing this particular day?
It is very good. It is very good and very overwhelming at times. We do get a lot of support from the public sector, private sector, just the citizens and residents in and around the Hero Circle as well. So it is very good, but also remember there's an island-wide effort. So we have persons at the different parishes as well, because they have a similar setup. But we may not be able to have the JDF there, so we have other services there, the cadet service, the police, that also assist us with carrying out these functions.
Is there an appeal for for Jamaicans to just come out on the day and the time to just, you know, honor those who served Jamaica?
There is that appeal as well. We'd love to see as many persons as possible be there to honor our fallen for that day.
Right. Now, Peter, I keep saying Peter, retired Sergeant Peter Xavier Williams.
Yes, sir.
How long did you serve serve Jamaica in the military?
Nearly 30 years, sir.
30 years?
Yes, sir. Because during my service, I served the Jamaica Battalion, then the Royal Corps of Signals British Army. Then my service was transferred to the West India Regiment, short-lived.
Yes.
And then I continued through to the Jamaica Defence Force.
Oh, great. What kind of encouragement would you give to those men and women who aspire to serve Jamaica through the Jamaica Defence Force?
Well, sir, I always say that the most invisible uniform that one can ever wear is the uniform of self-discipline.
Yes.
And we have to be self-disciplined and being an ambassador
All right.
to the Jamaica Defence
Thank
Force.
you so much, gentlemen. Sergeant Kennedy, retired Sergeant Peter Xavier Williams, and Mr. Carlton Watson, thank you so much for being here.